Hello, everyone. I'm Erin,
And I'm Mandy.
and today we are coming to you on video. So you get to watch me talk with my hands, and you get to listen to us tell scary ghost stories to each other. We are very, very pumped for this episode. We have done research, but we are not reading from anything. So we are going to be telling each other ghost stories like we are around the campfire. Oh, I should have brought a flashlight. So get pumped. Get ready to get a little scared. Don't worry about it. And we're gonna do some Halloween fun. Mandy, are you ready?
I feel woefully underprepared for this today because I thought we were telling scary stories from our lives. And Erin's like, I've done all this research. I have these great stories. So I am the weak link today. And I'm
Oh,
here for it. I'm here for it. I'm here. It's gonna be
I
great.
just,
I want you to start with your urban legend story because I have a story about urban legends.
oh,
Anyway,
okay.
that's what I want.
I
That's
just,
that's what I want.
I only have like one true scary story of something that's like happened to me. So depending on how much time we have, I might share that. Or if you have a story that like happens, you know the story, so don't worry about it.
Okay, good.
Um, but you want me to start with my urban legend?
I do. Yes, please do.
Okay, so Aaron has like kind of three stories that are like queued up. So the first one is like a US urban legend. The next one is like a Japanese mythology legend. And then my last one, maybe depending on time, is a sneak peek of a book. So urban legend. That's what I'm starting with.
Hmm.
Okay. So set the scene. Our main character is a girl who's in college. She has her roommate, her best friend, and they share a room. Her roommate's really outgoing and really nice and everything like that. And she's a little bit more of a partier than our main character is. Our main character is really quiet when she comes home. She likes to put her headphones in. Guys, this is the time of wired headbuds, so don't worry about it. But she likes to put her yes
Headbutts?
earpod or
Earbuds?
earpods. I'm nervous about recording on video. I'm sorry.
I just said,
Okay.
when you said headbutts, I was like, I know what that is, but maybe the
He-
youth don't. Wired headphones.
Yeah, it's wired headphones. Yeah. Well, because there's like the bud style and there's like the
There, yeah.
headphone style. So
Hmm. Hmm.
anyway,
I got you.
so when she would come home, she would always put her headphones in and she'd plug them into her MP3 player. I know, guys, stick with me. But like she plugged them into her MP3 player and she would go to sleep. That's like how she would calm down, kind of thing. That's what she would do. Well, one evening she was out late. She was at the library, which didn't close until midnight. And so she came home after midnight and she kind of like walks into the apartment and it's all quiet and dark. But then she kind of hears something and she kind of waits because she thinks her roommate and her boyfriend are
Mm, hmm. Okay.
because the bed is rocking, if you get what I mean. And so she kind of waits in the living room until everything goes quiet. Nobody comes out, and so she's like, "Great, fantastic. Let's do this then." So she goes in, she's like, "I'm just gonna go straight to my bed. I'm just gonna grab my headphones, I'm gonna put them in, and I'm gonna face the wall, and everything is gonna be perfectly fine. I'm not even gonna turn on the light. I'm just gonna go straight in the dark to my bed." So she walks into the room, closes the door quietly, and there's not a sound. And she kind of crawl or walks to her bed and crawls in and puts her headphones on, turns her MP3 on, faces the wall, and goes to sleep. The next morning, when she wakes up and the sunlight is streaming in through the window, she sees written on the wall above her roommate's bed in blood, "Aren't you glad you didn't turn on the light?" And her roommate has been murdered.
No, thank you. Absolutely no. Absolutely no. No, thank you.
This is story number one.
That gives I am woefully underprepared for today. I got chills. But also, that gives a whole new meaning to like you walk past like so many serial killers in your life. Like, no, I was actually
Yes.
in the room with wow.
Yeah.
Um, No, thank you. Pass. No, thank you. Pass. Okay, so my story is also about urban legends. Um, so there was a horror movie in the late 1900s from whence I came. Um, and it was called Urban Legends.
Sorry, go ahead. I really liked that.
Um, this microphone and I are not having a great day together. Okay. So I had a very like I had a friend group that were very much movie people. Like, we would get together and watch movies at each other's houses and all that kind of stuff. We would go to the movies, like, movies were a thing, and I think people sometimes forget how much of, like, a thing that was in the '90s and early 2000s. Like, movies were the thing for our generation. It's why we only speak to each other in movie quotes and all that kind of stuff, and we gauge whether or not we're gonna, like, jive with someone based on what movie quotes you do or do not get. Okay, so, like,
Right.
I anyway, someday somebody's gonna do some sort of academic paper on, like, my generation and movies, whatever. Okay. So, my friend group was very much, like, boys and girls. Like, it wasn't just a group of female friends, it wasn't just a group of male friends, it was kind of all of us together. But the girls decided that we were going to go to a friend's house and we were going to watch Urban Legends. Because everyone kept talking about, like, and I think the other the other part of all of this is, like, the internet was still in its infancy. So you could put anything on the internet, and there were people that took it seriously. It's kind of like today. But, like, Urban Legends had a chokehold on our parents about teenagehood. So, like, we all thought this movie was gonna be hilarious because we all thought our parents were kind of crazy for believing the things that they believed, right? Like, no one is really out here abducting teenage girls from the backs of their cars, right? Like, but anyway, we all locked our doors to make our parents happy. So, we go to my friend's house, who happens to live in a very large, old farmhouse on the outskirts of town.
Yeah.
The boys had said they were going to do something different that night anyway. They didn't care. Like, they didn't wanna hang out, they didn't wanna watch this movie, whatever, it was just gonna be us girls. So we'd all, like, driven out there because we all had different curfews and whatever. And we were all seniors and, like, we were all like, some of us were coming from work and whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
so everyone has their own car, and there's obviously you're out in the country, one, like, security light, like, one lone security light. So we're watching this movie that is full of all of these urban legends, and one of them clearly is the one where the guy like, me and this microphone are gonna go rounds today. I can feel it. Anyway, so one of them is obviously that when you like, if you leave your doors unlocked, someone's gonna be waiting in the back seat and slit your neck, right? But
Oh
then
yeah,
there was
like
another
pop up and
one
like,
pop up and yeah, okay. So then there's another one about approaching your don't, you've got to be careful and look underneath your car because as you approach your car, someone can grab your ankle and cut your Achilles heel and then you can't run away from them.
right,
Now, mind you, I am a product of the '90s. So Scream had already been out.
right,
Everybody knew Scream. Everybody loved
right.
it except for me. So what we did not realize was that the
Yes.
boys' plan was to park their cars a half mile down the road and
Yeah.
approach the house from all sides, one of them wearing a Scream mask and just walking past the windows
No,
periodically.
no.
We just saw shadows and we're like, "Oh, that's weird. It's fall. It must be the corn swaying in the wind," right? Until I, who
Yes.
goes out to leave, realizes that one of my male friends was actually underneath of my car, grabbed my ankle and slid his finger across the back of my ankle. And when I tell you I kicked that jerk in the face and screamed bloody murder, So then the other girls came running, and
Right.
of course, the boys are thinking, "This is hilarious." Well, then the one forgets he has a scream mask on and starts approaching, and then we all freak out again, wake her parents up. It was this whole great big thing. Suffice it to say that from that point on, the rest of my senior year of high school, I would make someone else approach like, I would either approach my car from very far away and open the door and dive in, or I would make someone else open my car so I could run and dive in.
Oh my God. Oh man.
This is
Yeah.
urban legends. So, I did. It this is why I don't like haunted houses. This is why I don't like scary movies. Um, they thought they were hysterical, and I do think that they
Right.
realized after the fact that it probably was not nearly as funny to us as it was to them. But
Yeah.
welcome to teenagers. They're kind of pains to each other. But this is part of the reason why. Now, I will also say this story remained locked in my brain until I had children of my own, until about 3 years ago when I saw one of my high school friends and he said, "Do you remember that time I scared the crap out of you with the scream mask?" And then it all came flooding back, and I was like, "I did not remember that. Thank you for bringing it up again."
So
Anyway,
now
so
you've
that's my
got,
urban legend story.
oh my God, so now you've got children and you're remembering that you're terrified of cars. You can't just hook them in, you know? Um,
Um, yes, yes, but, like, it's so funny because just sometimes, like, there's just, like, little, like, niggling feeling in the back of your mind where you're, like, parked under a streetlight for a reason, and I'm just gonna look in the back just to make
yeah,
sure, you know?
yeah.
Anyway, things that still haunt you from your teenage years.
Okay. I'm gonna go into my book story.
Oh, good.
Um,
I also have a book
because
story.
okay,
It
so
is not
the
related at all.
my book story is kind of related because it's about
I'm
boys
here
and
for this.
urban legends. So
Okay,
it
yes,
kind
tell
of
me.
sneaks in. So
Okay,
the book,
tell me.
this is a book that I'm currently reading right now. So it is called Ghost Camera and it's by Darcy Coates. So Darcy Coates is an actual like horror author and she does a ton of horror books. But this one is a bunch of short stories. So she has a whole collection. I want to say there's like 10 or 11 or something like that in there, and they're all pretty brief, and they're all like really fun. And so I'm not gonna do the whole story. I'm gonna do the first story, and if you want to know how it ends, like how the rest of it ends, you can go ahead and read the book. So again, this is Ghost Camera by Darcy Coates. Okay, here's the scene. We're on a beach in the middle of nowhere. We have six people. Now, these six people are high school seniors. We have three guys, three girls, and we're all paired off into couples, right? Okay,
Mhm.
so we
Okay.
have we're on this isolated beach. They're all locals, but it's kind of like a touristy area. And so they all hiked about I think they said they ended up hiking about 20 minutes one way through like the forest to get to this isolated beach because they didn't want to have to deal with like, egg cops and stuff, but all the tourists and stuff that are always in town trying to mess with them. They just wanted to have a good evening because they're at the point, it's the fall, in their senior year, they're starting to think about college and everything like that, blah, blah, blah. Well, our main character that we're following for most of the time, our main girl, her boyfriend is off in the corner and he's talking to guy number two, the jock, right? So her
Oh,
boyfriend,
sure.
I wouldn't say he's a nerd, but he's just an average guy. So
Okay.
average and jock are over in the corner, and they were the ones who wanted to come out here. Like everyone else is on the beach towel, they're hanging out, blah blah blah, kind of thing, and they're just like conspiring. You know what I mean? And nerd, our third guy, is like, you know why they brought us out here, right? And our main girl is like, no. Why? I mean, it's just a beach. We're having a bonfire. Like that's probably why they brought us out here. And he's like, this is where she died. Excuse me? That girl who died several years ago? Do you remember they found her body? They got, no, this is in Australia. So, the legend is that she tried to call 911 or 999, but she accidentally messed up the last one. She called 998. and she never got to the police. And you can still hear her screaming. That's the legend. And so our main girl's like, okay, yeah, they absolutely brought us out here. They're over in the corner, they're conspiring. They're absolutely going to try and scare us. Fantastic, cool, love it. So everyone's just chatting. They're kind of waiting. They're all expecting this to turn into something. We just don't know what's going to happen. And so as we're there, Jock comes over and he says to everyone, hey, do you guys see that lighthouse over there? And they're like, yeah, I guess. And they're like, we should go to it. um all of our stuff is over here though. And they're like, no, 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 we'll pack up our stuff. Here's what we'll leave all of our stuff. We won't even worry about packing it. We'll leave all of our stuff behind. And then all the guys will put the girls on their back and then we'll race across the beach. Like it'll be like a fun little race. We'll get to the lighthouse and then like we can go up the lighthouse that way. So that way you girls who are worried about getting sand and stuff in your shoes, you don't have to worry about it because the guys are gonna do it. And so one of the girls is like, I don't think this sounds like fun. I don't want to stay. Our main girl is like, yeah, I'll do that. That sounds fun. Sure, let's do it, kind of thing. And the other couple, the nerd and his girlfriend, he's like, I don't want to do this. I'm good. And she's like, oh, it'd be kind of fun, but if you don't want to go, I'm fine with it. And so we have our average Joe and we have the jock. Their girlfriends get on their back and they say one. No, sorry, it's not one. It's nine. No, it is one. It is one. This is why I hate recording sometimes because I've messed up the story. Australia is 111, not 999. I
Okay.
apologize.
Okay. Okay. No, you're fine. Clarify
So,
away.
yeah. So they just say one and then they start running. They just take off. And they're like, okay, we're not doing a countdown then. No, three, two, one, just one and let's go. So the boys start running and they're running like flat out, not like oh yeah, we're going for a jog, or oh, there's someone on my back and we're chatting kind of thing. They're flat out running. Like average is like huffing and puffing, like he's gonna die. Like his girlfriend is like, do we need to stop? What's happening here? Kind of thing. And Jock, who is way faster than average, is keeping pace with average. He could be running faster, but he's not. But we're running flat out. And the boys keep saying to each other, one, 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 back and forth as they're running. That's it. Nobody else is saying anything. And then our main girl looks behind and she realizes something is chasing them. So she
No.
panics and starts to scream and tries to get off. But Average holds on to her and keeps going. He just keeps bolting. And they get to the lighthouse. His feet are bloody because he's been running on the beach barefoot in stones. His feet are bloody. They're cut. Like she can see the blood trail behind him when they get to the lighthouse. And instead of stopping at the lighthouse steps, they race up the steps all the way to the top room and then slam the door closed. Okay. So they're
But
panicking.
wait, that's Average and Average's girlfriend. What about Jock and Jock's girlfriend?
Jock and Jock are keeping pace. So it's
So
Jock,
those
Jock,
four people
girlfriend.
are in the room, slam the door shut.
Yes, they're in the room. They
Okay.
slammed the door shut. The other two are on the beach still. So they slam
Nerd
the
and nerd girlfriend
mhm,
on the beat. I have so much anxiety right now. Okay.
slams the door. Girl, main character turns and she's like, "What was that? What is going on? I don't understand. Who was that out there?" Other girl who did not see the other thing is like, "What is going on? I want to leave. This is dumb." And Jock and Average, huffing and puffing, bleeding, are pumped. They're like, "Did you see her? Did you see her?" And our main girl is like, "What is going on?" And Jock is like, "Well, there's this urban legend." She's like, "Yes, I know. There was the girl who died out here, and you can hear her screams." And he's like, "No, she died. When she died and was trying to dial 111, she was running across the beach and being chased. And so she thought if she could get to the top of the lighthouse and shut the door, that she would be safe. But she didn't make it. And so, if you race her, if you challenge her on the beach, you have to be faster than her and get to the top of the lighthouse before she gets you. Otherwise, you die the same way that she did." So they say that, and then they peek out the window and they see Nerd and Nerd's girlfriend racing across the beach. And you hear Nerd's girlfriend scream. So that's where I'm going to stop. There is more to the story. Again, this is Ghost Camera by Darcy Coates. There are a bunch of short stories in there. They are super fun. I really am enjoying it. I highly recommend it. So that's my book story. Hi. Are you okay? No? Do you want me to tell you afterwards how it ends? Okay. Are you sure you don't want to read this horror short story book? Okay, Mandy, I'll tell you how it ends after. Yeah. So,
Yeah. Okay. Yes, I want to know how it ends. Yes, I will read it because that sounds incredible. Um, it reminds me of periodically on TikTok, I will see 2-sentence horror stories.
yes, the girl
And
with the lipstick and the black hair.
no, they're just like Reddit posts where like they're
Oh,
just
oh, yeah,
screenshots of like two-sentence horror stories.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you have now unlocked a whole new fear of why I'm never on a beach at night. Thank you. Um, okay. My book story is not nearly this. I've told this one to you before.
Okay.
Um, I have never read the book, The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova
I know what the story is. Sorry.
because, okay, we're going to do a little
Mhm.
demonstration here because this is now visual. So when you look at a book, you look at a book like this, right? Okay. So beautiful cover, and it just looks like some different stuff on the face or on the front of it. The historian is talking about Vlad the Impaler, kind of whatever. Anyway, so the book has title, author, and then just some stuff in the front, right? Like something
Right,
that looks a little like it doesn't look like anything. So Mandy
right.
thinks, "Oh, I love historical fiction. I'm going to read this book." Well, Mandy is expecting at this point in time, which means she gets up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom quite a bit. So she's laying in bed, she's reading, she sets her book down like this. So when she flicks on the light so that she can navigate because her body is different to go out to go to the bathroom, she realizes that this little strip that used to be nothing is actually Vlad the Impaler's eye staring at you in the middle of the night. So I brought the book back to the library and I've never read it. Never finished it. Freaked me out, and I'm done. So when you say, "Is Mandy going to read this book?" In theory, she wants to.
Right.
In theory, she wants to. But we also have to acknowledge that she returned a book because the cover was scary. So there you go.
Oh man.
Any hoodle. So
Oh.
that's my book story. And that's all the scary stories I really have about my life. So clearly again did not understand the assignment for today.
Oh man. Um okay, okay. I have one more
One more. I'm super excited
I
for this
yeah.
one.
I have one more. Okay.
I'm
So
ready.
this is a Japanese kind of like folk story. There are like three big ghosts in Japanese like mythology and stuff like that. And one of those big three is Okiku. So Okiku is at hold on. Sorry, my phone just buzzed and I wanted to make sure that it wasn't anything.
Oh, I didn't
So
hear anything.
Okiku, okay. Okiku's story takes place at Himeji's castle. And so this is a historic castle that you can still visit to this day. And people go there to see the place that Okiku is reported to be at. So there's many versions of the story because obviously it's one of the big three in Japanese folklore. And so it has different versions, but this is probably the most popular version. And so we have Okiku, our main ghost, our main person. And then we have um, Ayama. There we go. I'd stop and remember what his name was. So Okiku is working at this castle and she is beautiful. She is a gorgeous maiden, and she works in the kitchen, and her responsibility is caring for the lord of the manor's like dishes. So she's kind of responsible for making sure that the dishes are laid out properly, that none of them are chipped, that everything is cared for, and if something breaks or gets lost, then she's responsible for it. So kind of think like if the silver goes missing, that maid
Mhm.
is responsible for it. So this is her
Okay.
job. Um, Oyama is a samurai and he falls madly in love with her. And he starts pursuing her and he's like, please become my mistress. Please be with me. I love you. I adore you. I want you to be with me. And she says, no, I'm sorry. No, I'm not interested. And so he begs. He's like, please, I want you more than anything to be my mistress. I'm a samurai. I'm the retainer for the Lord. Like, I am this big, powerful person. I want you please. And she's, no, I'm not interested. And so he gives her one more chance and he's like, please. And she says, no, I'm not interested. I'm sorry, my dude. This is not what I want. Then he's like, we'll be tricksy. We'll try and kind of get her to do what I want. You know what I mean? And so he goes and takes one of the dishes from the cupboard and he goes to Okiku and he says, you're missing a dish. And she says, what? And he's like, you're missing a dish. And she says, no, I'm not. And so she goes and she counts and she says, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. And it's not there. And so she counts again, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. And it's missing. It's gone. The 10th dish is gone. And she's like, do you know where it's at? He's like, I can help you. I know where it's at. It's at the well. And she's like, it's at the well? And so she goes to the well looking for the missing dish, and he has a whole setup there. He has two men grab her, and he starts to beat her. And he asks again, will you be my mistress? No. Starts to beat her again. Will you be my mistress? No. Dunks her into the well, holds her underwater, lifts her up. Will you be my mistress? No. Then
Good for her.
to Mhm. proceeds to toss the 10th dish into the bottom of the well and throws her in and says, fine, go get it, and drowns her. She dies, but she does not go.
Mm.
She proceeds to haunt him and the rest of the castle for weeks, and everyone can hear her counting one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. And every time she gets to nine, she lets out this blood curdling scream. No one in the castle can sleep, and everyone knows what he did. So his lord, because he can't sleep, because he can't like exist in his castle anymore, hires a priest. And so the priest comes and they wait for the evening. And so she comes out and she does her count. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. And as soon as she gets to nine, but before she lets out her scream, the priest yells, 10. And she's exorcised and she's gone because she's relieved that somebody has finally found and taken care of the 10th dish because that was her responsibility. Now, she is
Please,
typically, yes, nothing bad happens to him, Mandy,
why didn't the Lord, like, at 10 run his sword through the samurai?
because it's his retainer. That's
I
his
don't
knight.
care, he drowned a woman. That's awful for refusing to be his mistress.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's not
anyway.
great, but that's why she's one of the big three. So she's typically used in like imagery and stuff like that, or in stories where people are drowned. She is usually representative of like drowned children, as well. So
Oh.
or drowned women, just people who are considered like helpless in their story,
Mhm.
who
Sure.
are killed by water or who died angry and need revenge. So she's
Right
typically
on.
represented in that way. So that's Ukiku's story. Again, one of my favorites. So,
I did not know that, and that is absolutely one of my favorites now. I love that story.
what? If you are interested in Japanese stories, or Japanese ghost stories, There is, hold up, I'm pulling up the link really quick so I don't get the year wrong. There is a Japanese film and it is from 1964 and it's called Kwaidan. And so basically, Kwaidan is the Japanese word for ghost stories. And so this is one of the most beautiful films I have ever seen. It is four Japanese ghost stories back to back to back kind of thing. And it's in that really fun 60s like film style. Think like Hitchcock and stuff like that. Like that's fun 60s film style. It is gorgeous. Everyone says it's like a scary movie because it's ghost stories. One of the best reviews I saw of it was this movie was too visually stunning to be scary. It is not intent on being a blood and guts horror movie. It is intent on sharing the like scariness of like ghosts and history in the land. So it is phenomenal. I highly recommend it. So this is not a story from there, but this is the kind of stories you will see. So
So add that to our spooky season watching. What was the
it's
name
so
of
good.
the short story book that you referenced earlier? Ghost Camera?
That Ghost Camera by a Camera by Darcy Coates.
Adding it to the spooky season so that I'll never sleep again.
It's good,
Um,
Mandy. It's good.
you know, um, well, thank you for watching along. We thought we would try a different medium for the podcast and just kind of talk about something that's completely different.
Yeah.
Um, so let us know if you enjoyed this and if you want to see more of our faces as we try to talk to each other over Zoom. But we will see you next time on Libraries Beyond the Bookshelf. Right? Yeah.
Bye, guys. Happy Halloween.